Get going. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to those of you across the country and up north in Canada. My name is David Prinster with VMware. My colleague Will Mallory and I will be manning the chat and the Q&A. I'm going to really just turn it over to David Spiros and Skip Gumbel, our play-by-play and color commentators for this session, who will introduce the subject and give you all the great information. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to David Spiros.
Great, thanks, Mr. Prinster, and just very humbled to have Skip Gumbel. I've known him for 8 years since he started with VMware 8 years ago on the end user computing side. He runs our global business development, adoption and sales specialist around VMware Horizon and desktops and applications. So we have a distinguished speaker here. Love when Skip is presenting, so I'm glad to have him. So Skip, thanks for joining us today. Just tell us what we're going over today. Love to introduce yourself.
Excellent, David. Thank you very much, and thanks for the friendship over the past 8 years, and looking forward to 8 more in these times that are both exciting and critically successful, and we're dealing with this crisis that we're all probably working from home today and learning how to do that. And one of the great things as we did our financial announcements yesterday from VMware, have really been able to help lots of our customers in these times. And we really are wanting to share that with you today. So we're going to talk about how the remote workforce, today and the past number of months, it's been pretty much 100% work from home, remote working, the best that we can do. But as we move forward, we're going to look into that will continue, but then there's going to be this hybrid. There's going to be this balance that VMware is ready to help you and your customers and yourself to deliver a very, very successful remote working environment. So one of the things as we move into the agenda here that I want to make sure we're going to cover, because it's really 3 components, which is really to avoid this disruption. At the beginning, there was a lot of chaos, there was a lot of crisis. How did we respond to it? And it really was important that we make it easy, avoid and try to provide this continuity between what we were used to, which is in the office while we were traveling, which was kind of the precursor to providing that same experience when you were in the office or on the road, and now it's at your home office. But we're going to provide that continuity across all these different avenues. But what's really important, and everyone is aware of this, is to make sure that as we're doing this, that we protect and deliver a secure remote workforce and a secure work from home, work from anywhere, which is really very important. And that's one of the reasons VMware has put into our product set that level of security. It's based, if you look at any of our CEO or CISO, it's all about security. And it's really very exciting that we've been able to do that for you and many others. So what we've seen is we did a little research at the highest level when we start talking about data centers and what do our customers look for. And it's been accelerated because of the situation where our customers are going, I can't bring people even into my data center to operate it. They're having to be remote. I need to expand. And so what the realization is that over 93% of the customers that were surveyed indicated that they were going to move to more of a hybrid model, which is some technology, some infrastructure on-prem, and then some infrastructure in a cloud-based service, a cloud offering like AWS and VMC or VMware Cloud on AWS is what we'll be focusing on today. And what was interesting and what people feared was that was going to be more expensive. That was going to cause a need for higher budgets. But what we found in reality is it did reduce the cost. It reduced the cost of maintaining all that infrastructure in your premise or in a colo. It really reduced it in many avenues, from sizing and providing the right technology for the right solution set. So this was very interesting, and customers have embraced this. Then we did another double click on it. Instead of just the workloads, the data center workloads, let's look at the virtual desktops and virtual apps. So what we've then found out is that 91% of those that we surveyed said, yes, we want to do not only the data center workloads, but we're going to do desktops and virtual applications. We want that to be hybrid as well, and that our users would be able to do that remotely, whether we're doing single cloud, multi-cloud, is really kind of up to the company's strategy from a cloud first perspective. And then when some customers are going, hey, I want to focus on my business, my strategic business, I need someone else to finally give me a desktop as a service and automate as much of my IT operations as possible. So it depends which route you go, which column. It may be a combination, but it really was interesting in that this is the direction we're seeing, and it's been accelerated due to the COVID-19 and the situation we're all aware of.
Skip, what can I do if I'm, we have a lot of partners online today. We have a lot of end user customers. Where can end customers go? Is it, can they ask our partners that are online? Do they go to VMware to help them decide makes the most sense? What are your suggestions? What do you see?
Yeah, my suggestion certainly is our partners. Our partners that are trained, have gone through extensive training on virtual desktops, virtual data center moves, and they've got a lot of experience, and they've helped other customers do that. So I would say if you're working with a partner, leverage them, have them help you with appropriate services and transformation from a maybe 100% on-prem to a hybrid model. They can help you with the journey to the cloud. And if you don't have a partner, we certainly can set you up with one. And if you prefer, there is the capability. VMware has some services that are offered, but I would vote first for our partners.
And what about data sovereignty? I know we have Will on our panel, who's one of our neighbors up north. I'm sure we have other people that are covering other countries. Do we support from a VMC and AWS, data sovereignty? Are we in those regions where we can make sure that data stays in those countries?
Absolutely. And that's one of the big benefits, is that with the global reach of VMware Cloud on AWS, is that we can locate, and proximity, as you'll see in a bit, is really important. Not only proximity between your applications and your data and the data sovereignty, having it in country and not crossing borders, is that also your desktops and virtual apps should be within proximity. So getting them all together and having that hybrid and secure environment between an on-prem, let's say in Canada, and then also the data center, or in the US or in other parts of the world, is really critical. And that's one of the great benefits of VMware Cloud having global reach. All right, Dave, ready?
Yep, thanks.
Cool. All right. So one of the great things about this is it's not just me being a VMware employee for multiple years, 8+, is that IDC has said that we really have done leading, the strategically leading with what we're doing in this cloud, both from a data center as well as virtual desktops and apps, but also the capabilities between, as we just discussed, our partners, as well as VMware being able to help you be successful in your journey into the cloud. But what's really also, if we want to be looking at all pieces of the puzzle in the journey, is that the operational consistency that we can deliver, if you're already running an infrastructure on-prem, whether it is the workloads in the data center, if it's Horizon, which is my responsibility globally, if it's the desktops and virtual apps, is this solution between Horizon on VMC in the cloud and then Horizon on-prem, the consistency for your operational is the same. So if you have a staff that's been trained, they will be able to leverage the same tool sets, the same environment, can extend it to the cloud. For those of you that are more technical, the vMotions work, being able to deliver pools of desktops in either. So the consistency is really important, the compatibility of both desktops and apps, whether it's a Windows-based app, whether it's a Linux app. So that is really important, because in these times, a lot of customers don't have time to do a lot of the upgrade, but our partners can help make that as seamless and as transparent as humanly possible.
Yeah, just to add to that, Skip, just having vCenter and being able to use vCenter across your on-prem software-defined data center and your VMC and AWS software-defined data center, you can manage, and it looks, feels, plays the same way on-prem as it does in VMware Cloud and AWS. Yeah, it's great.
No, it is. And that same statement, if we could just take out the vCenter and vSphere and put in Horizon, the Horizon Mandarin, it's all the same. So it is that transparency to get that set up and to extend. And so now what you've done is been able to deliver this consistency, delivered not only a DR situation, but this business continuity, which is what we're all working on, being able to provide your users that business continuity, whether they're at home today and maybe want to go in the office next week, and in the future be able to be back on the road again. All that is delivered constantly and consistently between the on-prem and the cloud. So it's really a very seamless move. So some of the other benefits of doing it in this fashion with Horizon and VMware Cloud on AWS is this rapid provisioning. I'm going to talk about a customer example, a couple of them coming up, but the ability to rapidly deploy on-prem or then into VMC and then expand VMC by just requesting more capacity. Today, if you had to go and acquire a server, I'm not even sure of the lead times anymore, or I know desktops have been really hard to get. So with the cloud, they have the capacity in the cloud and will be able to deliver that rapidly. Then all you're doing is expanding your existing environment, creating a new workload, expanding the number of clusters, expanding the number of desktop pools or a virtual application. So it's very rapid deployment, as you'll see. The cloud pod architecture that we have is what David and I have been chatting about, is the ability of seamless integration between on-prem and the cloud, active kind of environments, so that you can deliver not only remote anywhere, but you also have created this DR kind of story. So if it's not a horrible thing like COVID-19, but it's a weather event, any of these things can be used in this kind of environment. And the delivery of what we were bringing, I mean, VMware has been in the data center business for 20 plus years, in the virtual apps and virtual desktop business, 10 plus years. So the experience and the enterprise class that we have is very important to be able to deliver this successfully. So as promised, here's an example of a customer that we did. It was a call center application. We got a call on Friday during about a month or so ago. The customer said, we have 35,000, it actually ended up being 38, call center folks that generally had come into their offices around the US, and they said, we need to send them home. Everybody had to go home, and they said, we need 35,000 virtual desktops set up as fast as you can so that these 35,000 people can get to work and not be furloughed, quite honestly. Within those period of time, within 5 business days, by the next Friday, we had their entire virtual desktop call center application, virtual phone, voice over IP, set up, operational. So not only were we able to deliver that rapidly, we were able to give them a secure environment, plus being able to save 35,000 plus jobs. And then this time that is really critical. So big success story. It's in the financial insurance market. And so it's critically important that there's security because there's a lot of PCI data going on. And that was all done leveraging Horizon with the data centers in the cloud.
Skip, I would imagine, maybe a month from now, 2 months from now, those 35,000 desktops, maybe they'll be able to get back into a physical building. How does that work? How does that play out? And how do customers look at that scenario as well?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're chatting about, which is how do we take now these users? So instead of when they go back in the office, they would have the same user experience as they had at home. They're going to connect to their same desktop now. It's being hosted in the cloud. And therefore, they will have the exact same experience, whether they're at home dialed in or whether they're in the office dialed in. The only difference is the data center. Now that the data center is in the cloud, the customer can decide, well, I want to leave all of them in the cloud. I want to put some of them back in our data center just to share and create that hybrid environment that I mentioned at the beginning. But for the user and the employee's experience, it's exactly the same. They boot up their machine and they're connected to either the cloud or on-prem. But this customer is so pleased with the ability, what's happened in the cloud. They've actually seen improvement in the latency and improvement in the performance having it run in the cloud because the servers have been customized and optimized to that use case.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe 6 months from now, hopefully not. There might be a second wave, so they need to, shut those buildings down again, have them work from home again. So just having that flexibility is going to be key as as companies look toward the future.
Yep, spot on, and that's what we're delivering, is that flexibility. Just some other use cases, and wanted to just throw this in there. But I mentioned at the beginning the proximity, the location of the desktops and apps to the data, to the workloads that are really where all the information on the screen is coming from. So that location is really important. So this particular customer we just talked about moved their applications and their virtual desktops to the cloud, and therefore we're able to give that fantastic user experience and performance. David just mentioned, temporary desktops. We need to expand. We need to send more people home. We want to have this ability. We need to expand. The next use case we're going to talk about is a company that did need to expand and needed that flexibility and rapid ability to deploy from on-prem into the cloud, or just be able to expand in the cloud. So all of those are very, very flexible, giving you tremendous flexibility in your environment. So if we were to summarize that, really the cloud and the AWS, the VMware Cloud on AWS delivers these three key tenets. One is we've been talking about this seamless capability of being on-prem in the cloud or all in the cloud, the seamless capability of expanding in the cloud because the hardware and the infrastructure is there, and therefore you can expand rapidly. The enterprise capability of both vCenter, vSphere, Horizon, and the cloud AWS is really something that you can count on. That's really important as you're moving your employees home, keeping that productivity high. And then the tools, the similarities, the exact tools that your data center, your IT organization is used to with VMware is exactly the same. So the training is zero because now it looks the same. It's just running in the cloud. So this next use case is a company that is in the loan origination and servicing business. They were experiencing rapid growth, with the low interest rates that we're all seeing. They had a lot of demand for their new loans, loan servicing, being able to manage that, shifting loans around, as we're all probably familiar with. They were accelerating their hiring to keep up with this demand. The productivity, what that's about, they were very important because it's all about how fast can you have high customer satisfaction, but process that loan and get that loan through the system rapidly. And then they were historically 100% on-prem. They had their own data centers. They had multiple they had to maintain. And so they had said, we're going to shift to the cloud. We see the benefits that we've already previously talked about. So what happened is they did this. They smoothed their VMware workloads, their data center, vCenter, vSphere workloads to VMC on AWS. They then moved in phases their Horizon desktops. They saw a 100+% loan productivity increase. That means that they were able to process almost double the number of loans, given the performance improvement that we were able to deliver in the cloud. They were able to focus their employees on their business, which was loan origination and servicing. One of the biggest benefits is the amount of time. They had to hire call center folks rapidly. They were able to hire faster, onboard them faster, and have them productive faster. So it was really a massive success because the amount of time that they were spent, it was all the same training. They could work from home. They could work in the data centers or in the company headquarters, depending on what the situation was. So the experience for the customer increased, the employee experience and productivity increased. A great success story. Drove huge top line and bottom line revenue growth for this company.
Yeah, just what I'm hearing today from customers, Skip, as I talk to customers, and they try to order hardware for their own data centers. There's a 4 to 6 week lead time just on the hardware alone. Let alone somebody's going to have to go down there and meet somebody when it arrives. Somebody's going to have to grant somebody access to a data center for rack, stack, and cable. And as you see, that lead time gets longer and longer and longer. So just to wrap your head around, wow, I can get this up and running. I can get nodes on VMC and AWS in hours versus waiting for hardware. And like you said, the faster they're on board and the faster they're talking to customers, the faster building, the production, the revenue is increasing. Yeah, it's just it's a win-win for everybody here.
It is. It absolutely is, Dave. Thank you. So one of the things I just wanted to double click a little bit to make all this possible is that we're basically VMware in the Horizon space is providing several sets of core services, as you see listed here, whether it's managing the desktops and apps to deliver, as David just mentioned, this rapid capability of expanding virtual desktops in the cloud, which is really key. Hey, I need another server. Basically, it does it all automatic. So everything is automated. You have full management and statistics. You have full image management of it and the capability of accessing the cloud. And what's really great is that the management capabilities of this is in one place, single pane of glass to manage. In this customer situations that we talked about, they had some of their data on-prem, some in the cloud, but you get one pane of glass to manage and to view the performance of your users, whether it's in the cloud or on-prem. Really key for when you're doing this. Most customers are going through this hybrid environment, you need that visibility. If some customers want to go 100% of the cloud, same tools, same everything. Now they've moved all the way to VMC, for example, on AWS. So it's a great story for you to take to your customers. And if you're a customer, this is a great story for you for helping you be productive and optimize your environment. So for those of you that are more technical and want to say, well, how does all this fit together? What is the puzzle? What do the pieces look like? So if you look at it, it looks very similar. If you're running VMware and Horizon on-prem today, it looks very similar. The bottom and the left boxes are exactly the same, right? We have the on-prem on the left. We have the vCenter, the data center, and Horizon running the virtual apps and desktops. All we've done is expanded it out and included the same on AWS infrastructure, as David mentioned, leveraging their servers, the different types of servers that they provide through VMC. We've managed the images just like we do if we were on-prem. One of the beauties here is that you do have access. So if you've done some native AWS applications or services, then that will be able to, as you can see, tie right into that environment. So you can have a mix of native vCenter, vSphere workloads, native Horizon, and then native AWS workloads. So you have the best of all worlds. So you deliver simplified management, one view, one infrastructure. David mentioned fast provisioning, and then being able to optimize your real estate, right? Because now you can optimize that real estate, but then you're leveraging a data center in the cloud that has that ability to expand and multiple data centers, multiple regions within the AWS infrastructure. It really benefits all around. So finally, as we wrap up here and take questions, I'm sure there've been some, I hope, is that the takeaways is this hybrid cloud is here today, and it really has helped customers. Those customers that have embraced it and are leveraging it to deliver this remote work, this business continuity, workplace continuity is really key. In this hybrid cloud world, some customers have accelerated their move to the cloud, moving all to the cloud, getting out of the data center business on-prem. There's so many great applications, whether it's virtual apps, virtual desktops, and all your apps, the commonality is right there for you. And then, you can trust. We've been in this business for 10 plus years. You can trust us from an enterprise perspective, and we are here to help you. If you're a partner, VMware's here to help you. If you're a customer, we're here to help the partner help you in all different ways. And with that, we've included some links, some data points that you're welcome. You'll get access to this. And then David has provided his contact information for follow-up. If you would like to have a discussion, a Zoom or a Teams discussion, whatever works, let us know. We'll be happy to jump on the phone, get the right resources to you to make sure you're successful. So with that, I'll stop and we can take some questions.
Yeah, great job, guys. There are a couple questions both in the Q&A and the chat. So how about we start with the Q&A? I don't know if you, I'll go ahead and read it. Can you comment on virtual desktop slash published apps running in the AWS cloud? How it impacts egress costs with regard to data, last PC
Right.
over IP flowing out of the cloud, blah, blah, blah. So,
Okay. Yeah. So there, the way the charges occur, right? You're going to pay for your servers, but if there is egress, and we kind of talked briefly about where's the data, and depending on how much data, that egress charge generally isn't significant, but it is a cost. And that is where you can use some of our other products like Cloud Health and others to help you understand, should that database be moved to VMC on AWS versus keeping it on-prem. And that's kind of where this customer, the loan servicing company, had made a decision. We're moving 100% to the cloud in our journey because there was some egress charges because the data was on-prem. Putting the data near the desktops reduces the egress to zero because it's all inside of VMC on AWS, and you now have a better performance. So I hope that answers the question. If not, hit us again on that one.
Yeah, let us know. So the most you're going to pay is 5 cents a gigabyte per month on egress. If you have direct connects, it's 2 cents. So again, talk to us. There's tools we can use to kind of guesstimate or estimate, what a customer's egress charges will be for a month. But just let us know. We have tools to help you with that.
there's a few in the chat, guys. If you're seeing these, I'll take one on load from Yuri on load balancer. Do you see that one?
Getting there in the chat.
Yeah, it's who provides the GSLB load balancer, VMware, or is it some other company, or do you need to use your own like F5?
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it's a great question. So Horizon is getting ready to launch our global load balancing software, VM, for Horizon to run in and on VMC on AWS. We also have a higher function within our Avi networks. That's a company we acquired not too long ago that delivers a very enterprise class global load balancer, GLSB. So you have options. Some is built into Horizon. We're bringing out it's built in, then we're bringing out a cloud-based global load balancer. And then we also have access to the Avi networks. So you got kind of some choices that we can help you with.
Another one from Yuri. Again, I'm taking them in order. Can you do persistent dedicated desktops? Can you do
Yes.
full clones? Can you do link clones, or is it only instant clones?
No, we can do full desktops, so persistent desktops. Most of those examples, many companies start off with just doing persistent and then move over to the instant clone, which is the way of optimizing disk storage, reducing your storage costs, giving a better experience, helping operations only manage a fewer number of images versus having to manage all those persistent desktops. But that's, once again, is part of the journey. But we support both full or persistent, as well as what we call instant clones in the process going forward.
Let's see, one from Tom. How scalable are these services? Is it going to be cost effective for small businesses as well as large enterprises?
Yeah, so there's a minimal entry point, right, with 3 nodes. But once you get, I don't know what small is and what you mean small businesses, but generally, I don't know, Dave, what would you say is kind of the sweet spot to start at, number of users?
Yeah, sure. So Skip's being nice because we're talking about VMC and AWS. So from a VMC and AWS perspective, currently is a 3 node. You might see something smaller later this summer from us with regards to node count, entry node count. And roughly you can think between 70 and 100 desktops, depending on how big the desktops are. So if you have somewhere around 240 to 300 desktops, if you have something smaller than that, wait for us on the VMC side. Later this summer, we'll have a smaller entry point. But there's other solutions. We have other Horizon solutions on other cloud providers. I know we're not talking about that today, but just reach out to your partner, if you're your resale partner, or reach out to VMware. And we do have other options if you are a smaller company, and that's too many desktops that we're talking about today.
Here's a big and important question. May not be a quick answer, but let's try to keep it somewhat brief. What are the advantages of running VMC on AWS as opposed to Azure or GCP?
Yeah, so my answer, and then Dave, you can certainly weigh in, is I think one of the biggest advantages is certainly with Horizon running native. We've been doing this for over a year on VMC, VMware Cloud. VMware is managing your vCenter, vSphere on your behalf. So you've got VMware doing that, and AWS clearly is a leading cloud provider. The Azure and GCP solutions that are most similar to that are brand new. I mean, they're really not even launched yet. This summer in time frame that's even close to similar. And then those two companies will be managing your vCenter on your behalf. There are a couple options on Azure. If you're looking for something more DaaS-like, there is an option there as well. But we also have a DaaS-like offering on VMC on AWS. So there's a lot of similarities. It takes more, as you said, David, to answer it in full, because it does vary based on your environment. In other words, where is your data? What are you using one of these other cloud providers or other things in your company that these desktops and apps need access to? Dave, you want to?
Yeah, and just to add on that too, in terms of, one throat to choke, VMC on AWS is sole supported by VMware. So if 24/5 live chat support, 24/7 support. So if there is an issue with your VMC on AWS infrastructure or even your Horizon, you are talking to the same people that are going to help you, right? Also, we're in 17 regions worldwide. So depending on where you are and where you need to be, and like Skip said, our Azure and GCP offerings are brand new. They're not in 17 regions. So it all depends. Talk to us. Again, talk to your partners, your resale partners, talk to VMware. We'll offer what's the best solution for your environment.
Let's take one final one because we're a little over time, but it looks like a good one to maybe end with from another David in the audience. How simple is it to connect on-prem to cloud? I understand it's just a cloud connector plugin. Is there more to it from an on-prem perspective?
No, and I did fly through that given the time, but as you saw, and I'll even flip back to it, the connector is that easy. Basically what we're doing right there, that big blue, I guess turquoise box there in the middle, it's a downloadable. You go to VMware.com and you download the connector, and it's you install it. It's one install script. The trick, then it's not a trick. All you have to do is have an entry in the Horizon Cloud service, and it pairs. Basically, it's just like pairing Bluetooth to your phone. We pair with a login credentials, the connector, and then all of a sudden you have access and ability to have visibility and leverage the console in the cloud, the management console, to manage your Horizon on-prem. And then you can deploy these desktops on VMC on AWS or on Horizon on-prem. You have that complete transparency. So very easy. There's documentation. If you go to docs.vmware.com, it's like one page long. That's how hard it is. So not very hard at all. And you can do it in just a very short period of time, 30 minutes or so.
All right, gentlemen.
Anything else, Dave?
Yeah, anything else?
No, I think we're running up on time here, but yeah, it's been a pleasure. Mr. Prinster, Mr. Mallory, Mr. Gumbel, thank you.
Yeah,
No,
great job, guys. We really appreciate your expertise here. Thanks for everybody for joining, and we'll send some follow-up information from the webinar itself. If you have, again, if you want to drill down into this any further, contact your partner representative. If you don't know who that is, or maybe want to connect with somebody at VMware, let me know. We can certainly get you connected and have a further conversation on this. So thanks everybody for joining today. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend.